Avoid. Dear students, in non-finite part 1, I taught the kinds of non-finite, and I hope you have not forgotten that there are three kinds of non-finite: infinitive. Infinitive also has two kinds of its own: full infinitive and bare infinitive. As per form and as per use, there are two kinds of infinitive. Noun infinitive, we call it simple infinitive as well, and qualifying infinitive. And I had told regarding the use of bare infinitive also, and had given some conditions, had talked some rules regarding the use of bare infinitive. So is the case with full infinitive as well. I will tell you now some of the verbs, and if you remember the list of these verbs, it will be quite easy for you to decide whether you have to use full infinitive or bare infinitive. The list of verbs that I will tell you now take full infinitive just after it, and they are, it's better that you write it in your copy so that you remember it and you should not have any problem. These are manage, agree, attempt, afford, aim, appear, arrange, neglect, try, happen, hesitate, refuse, offer, want, seem, plan, prepare, promise, fail, forget, fair, like, learn, love, long, decide, demand, determine, choose, care, claim. These are the verbs after which infinitive with to is used. Now I will tell you some of the verbs after which object is used and then full infinitive is used, and the list of these verbs are invite, instruct, force, forbid, urge, compel, advise, allow, teach, tell, tempt, persuade, permit, permit, warn, encourage, remind, request, order, and oblige. These are some of the verbs list after when we use it, when we use in the sentence I invited him to come. I persuade him to be agree. So these are the conditions we find that when we use the verbs, generally we have object after it, then we use full infinitive. So these were the list of some of the verbs, and I am sure that this verbs list will help you when you use infinitive. So these were the lesson uh, over on infinitive, and I hope this video will help you a lot. Now I will discuss the gerund. Gerund, as for function of gerund is concerned, it is equal to the function of infinitive, as infinitive works like a noun in the sentence. So is the case with gerund as well. However, it is different in form comparatively to infinitive, where infinitive takes to with base form of verb. In other, gerund takes ing with base form of verb. When verb plus ing works as a noun, we call it gerund, and when verb plus ing work like an adjective, we call it participle. So in this video, I will tell you now the use of gerund, the conditions where we use the gerund. I told you already that gerund works like a noun, acts as a noun in the sentence. So, gerund can be used as a subject of a finite verb, like walking is an exercise, smoking is injurious to health. Gerund can be used as an object of a finite verb. He hates telling a lie. Gerund can be an object of a preposition, like the monkey is fond of eating banana. Gerund can be used as a complement of a sentence as well, like what I don't like is us telling, what I don't like is not keeping the promise. These are the use of gerund, and this way gerund is used. It is necessary that I should tell you, or I should discuss the equality in use of infinitive and gerund. A gerund can be replaced with infinitive, or an infinitive can be replaced with gerund, because both are identical in use. Where we use walking is an exercise, in same place we can use to walk is an exercise. A smoking is injurious to health, same place we can use to a smoke is injurious to health, and both sentences are correct according to rule of grammar. But many places we cannot replace, in many conditions we cannot replace gerund with infinitive, like look at this sentence and consider over it. I stopped writing. In this sentence, however we wish, we cannot replace writing with infinitive, either full infinitive or where infinitive. These were the conditions. In short, when we think of where we should use gerund and where we should use infinitive, here are some lists where we should use infinitive. The condition is, if we have verb plus preposition in the sentence or adjective plus preposition in the sentence, we should use gerund, not infinitive. And I will give you the list of such verbs. I will give you the list of such adjectives. So it's better that you write it down. The list is abstain from, aim at, addicted to, went on, confident of, desirous of, disqualified from, excel in, excuse for, hopeful of, insist on, persist in, prevent from, think of, take on, go on, keep on, look forward to, succeed in, tired of. These are the list of some of the verb plus preposition and adjective plus preposition. When we have some structure in the sentence, we should use gerund, not infinitive. Same way, there are some of the verbs also with which it's better use gerund in place of infinitive. And the list of the verb is mind, avoid, work, hate, enjoy, and excuse. These are some of the verbs with which we should use gerund, not infinitive. Gerund, you read gerund yourself, and when if you feel any kind of problem there, you just ask the questions regarding it. Now I will discuss participle. I told that as per form, as per use, there are three kinds of participles, and these are present participle, verb plus ing. The form verb plus ing, which works as an adjective in the sentence, is called present participle. Past participle, V3, perfect participle, having plus V3. These are the form of different participle. The conditions to use participle is that, or the use of participle, when we think of the use of participle is used generally to form continuous tense. If we use present participle, and past participle is used to form perfect tense, like he is running, he has gone. Here we see present participle has formed present continuous tense, and perfect participle has formed present perfect tense. The condition to use participle is that where we should use present participle and where we should use perfect participle. We use present participle when two actions by a single subject are done, or one action is done just after the other. In this case, we use present participle. Like opening the door, he entered the room. Here we see the same actor, the same subject is doing two actions together. The first one is he has opened the door, and the second action done by him is he has entered the room. Here we find that these two actions are taking place almost at the same time. That's why we use present participle for the first action, and second verb has been used as a common verb in the sentence. If other action takes place after first action is completely over, in this case we use perfect participle, not present participle. Like having risen the sun, the fog disappeared. In this sentence, when we consider over the meaning, we find that second action has taken place when the first action has completely over. The next rule is participle. Present participle and past participle are sometimes used as a common adjective, and when it is used as a common adjective, it modifies its subsequent noun. Like I saw a rolling stone, I saw a laughing boy. So these are the use of present participle and past participle. Sometimes we find that participle is used wrongly. So we should abstain from wrong use of participles, since participle is verb plus adjective. So it is necessary to explain noun and pronoun clearly in the sentence where we use participle. You take this example and consider over it, and your concept will be cleared itself. Like, while walking in the park, the sun rises. Here we find that noun or pronoun is not clear. Who is walking in the park? So it's better to use clear pronoun. While I was walking in the park, the sun rises. These were the conditions of using participles. Here now, non-finite is over, and you read it once, please, until you get over the topic, until you get through the topic. And if you have any kind of problem, you can ask, you can put your problem in the group. You will be given the solution in that.